Thank you all for coming. My name is Dan Isenberg. I'm a professor of management practice here at Babson, and I'd like to welcome you. I'm helping to organize the Puerto Rico 2010 conference that's going to be held in March, and so I'm indirectly responsible for your being here. I'm not going to say anything right now. I'll make some closing remarks, and until then, my only role will be to make sure that our guests and other speakers get up here on the podium. But I hope that the message that we are going to give to you today is an enlightening one, and I hope an encouraging one as well, because as you'll see, yes, there's going to be a conference. It's a discrete event, but it's one event in a series of processes that we're hoping to start and be involved in as a campus, or as a college, I should say, in Puerto Rico. So with no further ado, I would like to ask our first speaker, Mr. Jorge Galliano, who's the chairman of the board of the Puerto Rican Chamber of Commerce, to come up and make some comments.
Good morning, everybody. It's for the Puerto Rico Chamber of Commerce. It's an honor to be here at the campus, at Babson campus, to announce a strategic alliance between Babson College to promote and nurture entrepreneurship in Puerto Rico, and the conference that will be one of the tools used to achieve this and promote investment opportunities. Celebrating an event of this magnitude in direct collaboration with Babson College is an important step in positioning Puerto Rico as an economic powerhouse, as well as to develop our local business. We are very pleased and excited to have the opportunity to display our competitive advantage to the world and to meet face-to-face with potential investors. The event conferences and panel will highlight Puerto Rico's competitive advantage and invest climate, new opportunities of investing in Puerto Rico in sectors such as manufacturing and life sciences, healthcare and insurance, service, and wholesale and retail. In addition, some of the panel will be on how to access capital, and others will provide investors with insight into Puerto Rico global competitiveness. CEO from different sectors will be starting their experience. They will be sharing their experience. And experts from the public and private sector will be discussing the main investment opportunity available in Puerto Rico. Being an entrepreneur for 44 years already in Puerto Rico, we know all the challenges the entrepreneur we have to face every day. Last 4 years has been very tough business-wise in Puerto Rico, very difficult, but things have been changing a lot. There are a lot of new opportunity, laws are changing, environment, and Puerto Rico now looks at it open to do business there. I think personally that Puerto Rico can play an important role in the hemispheres. Our ubication is very strategic, and we can take advantage of the two cultures that we are part of them, and we can be a bridge between them in the hemispheres. We have our personal, I want to share with you, I joined Chamber of Commerce a few years ago in order how we could do that our sons and daughters don't leave Puerto Rico after we educate them. We have to make them to interact in the global environment, and I think in Puerto Rico we have a lot of opportunity and a lot of things to offer to the world. I am very proud and very honored, as I mentioned before, of being here at this campus at Babson College. All the support of the president of the Babson College, as well as the professor of management practice of the academic division, entrepreneurship of the Arthur M. Blanck Center for Entrepreneurship at Babson and College, and Vice-Chairman of the Puerto Rico Conference, Mr. Daniel Isenberg. And we have to appreciate very much the hospitality and the support. We think we have many things to write in the future. We are excited to keep doing, and we appreciate your presence to all the media members present in this opportunity here in this conference. Thank you very much for being here, and thank you for support, I think, this remarkable initiative. Good morning.
Thank you so much. I'm Glenn Schlesinger, the president at Babson College, and I'm absolutely pleased not only to welcome our colleagues from Puerto Rico here to campus today, recognizing full well that one of the natural assets that they have in their environment is the absence of snow on the ground and the absence of chill in the air. So next time we've got to organize December press conferences in locales that are spectacularly more attractive than Boston. But nonetheless, I'm absolutely delighted as the president of this institution to be able to celebrate the work that we are beginning to participate in as co-sponsor of the Puerto Rico Conference in March of 2010. As you well know, this institution has been widely regarded by the citizens of the world as the finest school in the world for the education of entrepreneurs at the undergraduate, graduate, and at the executive level. And this is an opportunity for us to extend our capabilities in some very important ways. We know, we know from years and years and years of experience how to begin to develop the capabilities to take on entrepreneurial roles among individuals. We also know from years and years of experience how to be able to assist people in the process of being able to engage in the execution of those skills, not only in startups of their own, but also to stimulate innovative and entrepreneurial-oriented behavior inside medium and large size organizations. At this point now, as we take a much broader view of entrepreneurship, use the phraseology of entrepreneurial thought and action, and begin to think about the nature of how in which we extend these capabilities on a global playing field, we have the opportunity to recognize quite explicitly that most government-initiated attempts at industrial policy to stimulate economic development have by and large been failures. And that in fact it really isn't the work of government to actually engage in industrial policy, but it is the work of government and like-minded individuals in the community, the true entrepreneurs who do the work and actually know how to work their way through the issues and problems they confront to move forward, that really are at the core of the industrial renaissance that can happen in Puerto Rico or other places in the world. And with Dan Isenberg and other colleagues from Babson College, we now have the opportunity to begin to extend our capabilities to thinking about how to unleash entrepreneurial-oriented behavior on a much larger scale through joint partnerships of government and industry and entrepreneurs at the local level to be able to build the capacity for economic renaissance in Puerto Rico. All of the preconditions are there. What we hope is this is something substantially more than just a conference. The world doesn't need another conference, but it is a conference that sets a set of expectations and measurable outcomes that can come from the work of the entrepreneurial community, the private sector, government, and the facilitated support of our colleagues at Babson College to actually build a future for Puerto Rico, which really does recognize the possibilities and potential that already exists in a wonderful, wonderful community. So again, on behalf of Babson College, thanks for choosing Babson. We're honored to participate with you. Thanks for getting us involved in the opportunity to be able to extend our capabilities to building entrepreneurial infrastructures and ecosystems at the regional and national level. And we look forward to working together to make great change together. with the conference and all that follows. So thanks so much.
Good morning. My name is Francisco Rodriguez. I'm the chairman of the Puerto Rico Conference, an investment banker by day and a not-for-profit director by night. So why we came up with the conference? In 2006, Puerto Rico was starting to show a huge increase of pressure, economic pressure, and we fell into a recession in May of 2006. So in 2005, I started to think about doing a country conference because before 2006, we did not have a country conference in Puerto Rico. So we came up with this conference that has become the biggest event to be held in Puerto Rico. We do it every 2 years, so 2006, 2008, and 2010, to maintain a very specific arena. In the past, we started the first one in 2006. The theme was the investment for development. It was the first ever attempt of doing a macroeconomic country conference held by the private sector, because as you know, in most countries, the country conference is held by the government. And doing it through the private sector, we believe has bigger credibility. We were able then to avert a further downgrade of our bonds. We brought down Standard & Poor's and Moody's and all of the bondholders in Puerto Rico debt because I felt they did not understand Puerto Rico well enough. So our goal here in these events is to show people in a day and a half all the key players in Puerto Rico, everyone that they need to know to understand how to think locally but still act globally and be able to make better decisions. So those are some of the things we have done, and it has been a hugely successful. In 2008, the theme was investment for growth. We took the opportunity that the private sector wrote the Economic Incentives Act of 2008, and we used the conference as a vehicle to further promote the added value proposition, which I will cover later in the presentation. Obviously, the Governor Fortunio, which in the photo there with me, and the past president, Jose Julian Alvarez, is a huge supporter of this event since day one. And this is some of the history. So this is going to happen. We'll have a VIP dinner on the 23rd of March for all the speakers. Then we do the conference on the 24th, and we will schedule visits and or one-on-one meetings throughout the day for all the investors so that they can partner and discuss any topic or meet any investment opportunity that they might see fit to do. The government will also be available to do one-on-one meetings, so it's a multifaceted event. As the President mentioned, we just signed an MOU with Babson to promote entrepreneurship with a one voice, one execution feasibility. You see, in Puerto Rico, we have lost 135,000 jobs in the private sector, and that's a huge amount in 3 years. So we feel that this crisis is going to help us further increase the opportunities for the people and to make entrepreneurship a bigger theme in the Puerto Rican economy. We designated my friend Danny Isenberg as a vice-chairman of this conference because we feel the content of the conference and the entrepreneurial spirit that Babson provides is quite impressive and important for us. And we need that content and that knowledge to be able to change the public policy in Puerto Rico to make entrepreneurship a #1 priority in the island. Some of the topics that we will cover in that event, we have invited a world-class economist, Michael Ryan from UBS, which you have seen him in CNBC, CNN, etc. He comes down every 2 years to talk about the global outlook, but also he talks about the local economic outlook. We're going to discuss the Puerto Rico investment climate. As you know, one of the key reasons of doing these events is to let the entrepreneurs and investors know which is the investment climate. We will have a panel about entrepreneurial thought and action and economic development. And for that keynote, we have invited Leonard to be the keynote of that important opening keynote speech. Obviously, we will discuss all the opportunities outlining the local investments, manufacturers and life sciences, which comprise 43% of the GDP in Puerto Rico, which is quite important. Healthcare insurance, medical tourism has become a key driver in growth in Puerto Rico. Medical tourism used to be zero, not even a consideration. And because of a conference we held, some of the local players have started to access, for example, a person who gets sick in a cruise ship in Puerto Rico, they will fly them to Florida for healthcare. So we started talking to the cruise ships and the airlines, and so everyone that gets sick now gets treated in Puerto Rico. But most importantly, we started to visit other jurisdictions because we discovered that, for example, a heart transplant in Puerto Rico costs 75% less than the U.S. And if you go throughout the list, people are looking for health elsewhere. And the benefit of Puerto Rico is quite simple. Puerto Rico is covered by all the FDA rules. Most doctors are U.S. Trained, same protocols, same standard of service. So it has become an increasing opportunity for growth in Puerto Rico. We're also going to discuss the public-private partnerships. We have passed the most advanced legislation of this nature in the island. We have held a conference recently to bring in the investors, but we continue to present what is going on with this area and how much activity is going to generate. Also, Puerto Rico global competitiveness now in the future. Just before I was going into this conference, I got a phone call from the governor's office informing us that they will create a competitive council. And he's going to name me, along with some other members of the private sector, to lead that competitive council. So in the governor's agenda, Puerto Rico competitiveness has become a huge priority. The wholesale and retail sector, very important pieces of Puerto Rico. We're going to outline the benefits, why per square feet most U.S.-based chains sell triple than they do in the U.S. in Puerto Rico. So we're going to talk about the demographics. Access to capital, as you know, there's a huge pressure to access capital in the whole world. So Puerto Rico is not an exception. So we're going to talk about that. And also, lastly, but not less important, we're going to close the event with some of the leading Puerto Rico entrepreneurs that have become successful both nationally and globally, so that people attending will get a flavor of what does it take to be an entrepreneur. What is Puerto Rico's value proposition? Well, we are under all U.S. jurisdictional laws. We have an advantageous tax and cost structure, a favorable locational demographics. We are a life science industry leader. Out of the 20 top drugs sold in the world, we manufacture 16 of them in Puerto Rico. We have obviously world-class amenities, as Leonard mentioned. We do the conference in March quite on purpose because it's a great time to get away from the cold. So aside from this event, Leonard, it's in March, it's going to have 85 degrees and sunny. This is our location, the little red dot in the middle is Puerto Rico. You see the access to both North America and South America and all over the Central American region and Caribbean. Ideal climate in winter, we have a very cold 83 degrees. We have a diverse terrain, very diverse, dry and wet, and we have rainforests and all the nice things you want. Beaches obviously are ranked among the best in the world. But what is important to you, it's what do we offer? 100% digital switching telecommunications network, fiber optic throughout the island, the most efficient financial infrastructure in the world. I should mention that some companies have chosen to mandate Puerto Rico to become their international hub and do their international operations out of Puerto Rico because of the new incentives tax law. The ports are fantastic, one of the best. Also, a new one in Ponce that's going to be a transport shipping area. Airports throughout, one of the best hubs in the Caribbean. Benefits of Puerto Rico are diverse. First, the U.S. constitutional legal protection, which is key for investors. U.S. currency and banking are the same. U.S. intellectual property is the same. Federal court presence locally. U.S. custom borders, trade agreements, access to federal funds. The best thing, you don't need a passport to go to Puerto Rico. You're a U.S. citizen. The great advantage is that we have, for U.S. purposes, we are a foreign tax entity. So if you operate in Puerto Rico, the taxation is totally different. And depending on the nature of the business you're in, you will pay 0 tax or 4% tax, depending on the entity that you develop. So it's quite interesting. You don't pay federal income tax. Flexibility to use all the local tax incentives to develop entities and corporations, which are really fantastic. The average cost of business is around 10 to 11% less than the U.S., and San Juan is the least expensive large city in the U.S., something to consider. Obviously, the workforce in Puerto Rico is quite skilled and diverse. We've been graduating more engineers in Puerto Rico that go to NASA than any other university in the world. 23,000 higher education degrees per year, which is significant for a 4 million inhabitant island. 9,000 of them are in science, engineering, and technical degrees. We have 3 medical schools, broad local expertise in manufacturing, science, finance, and law, engineering, and construction. For example, finance represents 18% of our GDP in the last couple of years, fully bilingual population. Sophisticated industries includes everything from electronics to life sciences, such as Amgen and the like, but biotech, aerospace. We have been seeing growth, especially in the aerospace industry, because no longer the U.S. can afford to have these operations abroad in foreign nations, so they're transferring these operations to Puerto Rico to have the security of all the U.S. laws and, most importantly, of the Homeland Security acceptance. In life sciences, more than 50% of the Fortune 100 companies have operations on the island, throughout the island. So it's quite interesting. Out of the new biologic drugs, we have 6 of them that have been created in Puerto Rico. I was traveling recently with the head scientist of Amgen to California, and he mentioned to me how he was able to create all the drugs that Amgen produces in Puerto Rico, doing the whole process of R&D in Puerto Rico. So we need to hear more of those stories. That's why we have pegged in the life sciences sector, we want to grow at least another 25%. And we're moving towards that goal, and we're moving towards achieving that benchmarking, creating infrastructure. We are building a molecular city in Puerto Rico, a science city all throughout San Juan. There's huge construction going on to be able to facilitate bringing more R&D and more scientists. We passed a law where scientists can bring down their grants and research and development capabilities and set up shop in Puerto Rico and use that to their advantage. So it's quite a unique opportunity. Amenities, obviously, what can I say? The beaches, golf, fun, and as Dan would mention, salsa. So that's our conference, and I hope you will join us. And if you want, that will be the closing arguments.
If you've received the impression that Puerto Rico has it all, That's 90+% true. But what's missing, and what has been missing, is entrepreneurship. Although it's there, it hasn't expressed itself fully. And I think that's really the next step. Most of you are probably familiar with an article that was written almost 20 years ago by an economist, William Baumol. And basically his argument was that every society has a given quantity, a similar quantity of entrepreneurial spirit or entrepreneurial thought and action, if you will, but it expresses itself in different ways. It could express itself productively, it could express itself unproductively, or destructively. And that came home to me quite strongly when I went to the city of Medellin, Colombia, a month ago. And if this audience is anything like other people I've talked to, when you hear Medellin, you hear two things. You hear cocaine, and you hear homicide. But about 8 years ago, a new mayor was elected. A couple things happened. The erstwhile successful entrepreneur Pablo Escobar was taken out of the equation. So some of the destructive entrepreneurship was dealt with. But a very insightful and strong and wise leader, Mayor Fajardo, became the mayor of Medellin. And in the last 7 years, the homicide rate is now below that of Washington, D.C., Chicago, and L.A. I think that just shows what leadership and intention and strong will can do. Countries around the world are making entrepreneurship happen. And by the way, a lot of what Medellin has done and what the mayor has done has created an incredible number of efforts to foster entrepreneurship in a variety of settings, both in the difficult communities, the dischallenged communities, as well as university-related centers. And a number of countries have done this as well. Countries the same size as Puerto Rico, whether it's New Zealand or Ireland or Israel or Singapore or Denmark. Countries have created, not necessarily intentionally, but have created or fostered or allowed to have happen the burgeoning of entrepreneurship. And I think this is the challenge for us in Puerto Rico. And as I listened to and I've been quite a few times and we've talked and the problems are well known, but I'm really happy to hear also that, and I've experienced myself, the numerous assets that Francisco was talking about. There's no reason at all that with the right kind of coordination and leadership and support that Puerto Rico within a short period of time in the overall scheme of things can't be as vibrant and even much more vibrant an entrepreneurial society as any of the names that I mentioned. And I think that's our challenge. That's our challenge. The conference is one part of that. A project will be starting soon to actually develop the ecosystem in Puerto Rico. It will be another part of that. And slowly, you know, Puerto Rico has unbelievable human capital, education, great higher education, scientific research, as a fantastic physical as well as administrative and legal infrastructure. It's an ethical place to do business, which is very important. There are now incentives, so-called Act 73, a whole package of incentives that I don't know if they're the best in the world, but they've been benchmarked, and they're certainly among the best in the world. There's an incredible diaspora in the United States and in Latin America that can be tapped into. There's access to the U.S. market, to the Latin American market. And you know, as we go through this list, we realize all of a sudden that we don't have any excuses anymore. And so the challenge is double. So I think it's us, the collaboration with Babson, I think from Puerto Rico's point of view, and certainly is to use everything that Babson has to help make this transition be as effective as possible. By the way, the other thing that Puerto Rico has is a sense of urgency and pain from the economic environment that's been very, very tough in an unprecedented way. So I think, although the problems are big, I certainly view it as a great opportunity, and I think we all view it as a great opportunity, and it's also an opportunity to learn how an institution like Babson can collaborate with a government like the Puerto Rican and a society like the Puerto Rican to make positive change happen. So from Babson's point of view, I think we have a lot to benefit as well in learning how to have an impact, as Len was referring to, beyond the kinds of impacts that we've been having in the past. So with that, I think we can open it up for some questions and answers for a few minutes. And